Hello everybody and welcome to Crochet, right there, a Canadian Crochet Podcast. I'm your hostess, Claudia. I hail from the base of the Rocky Mountains in southern Alberta, Canada, and I love to crochet. Let's get started. How is everyone? Thank you so much for the understanding for missing last week's episode. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So back when I was like 19 or 20, I was a cashier, and then the repetitive motion of scanning things, actually even doing that makes it a little sore, led me to get tendonitis right here in my arm. So I have been over crocheting, I would say, and that has really acted up, and I'm even having a hard time sleeping sometimes just because it gets sore. So I have to make sure my arm is like perfectly straight for a while to give it a rest. So I've been resting it a little bit. I probably crocheted more than I should have this week, but I'm going to have to rest it some more, do some ice and some naproxen and all that fun stuff to deal with it, make sure it doesn't get any worse. But yeah, so that's why I didn't post, is because I didn't really have anything to post because I was looking after my arm and I was just sore, and I was just like, oh, you know what, whatever. Thank you to everybody who also participated in the survey that I did over on my community tab, and if you'd like to take a look, you can go ahead and do that. I was asking if anybody would be interested if I provided pattern recommendations, and I believe overwhelmingly the answer was yes, so I'm definitely going to take that into consideration. And I think during this time, especially while my arm is sort of like getting back to the way it's supposed to be and all of that fun stuff, I'm going to alternate weeks where I do like project heavy stuff like this one is going to be, and then next week I will do like kind of a pattern roundup type thing, and then I can still show you the stuff that I have been working on over the week, but it won't be so much focused on that. So if that sounds good to you, that's great. If not, we can adjust and move forward as the wind takes us. Okay, all of that being said, let's get started into the actual crochet part of this crochet podcast. I have completed 2 things the past 2 weeks, which doesn't seem like a lot, or is it 3? No, it's 2. So what I did was, if you remember, I was talking about making a bandana scarf on the bias. So I messed that up really badly, and I ended up frogging the whole thing, which is fine. I don't feel sad about it whatsoever. And I just made it bottom up instead. So this yarn is, and I have it written down, I just have to read it. This is the Fiber Artist Organic Socks. I forget the color. All the details are on my Ravelry page, which will be linked in the description box below in the show notes for you. But I made this obviously with a linen stitch because, like I always say, I'm a one-trick pony. But I just thought this yarn really lent itself to something beautiful like this to show the variegation of the yarn. So yes, it's a sock weight. It is wool and I believe something else, maybe polyamide. I can't remember now off the top of my head, but it's mostly, well, if it's organic, would it have polyamide in it? I don't have the label, that's the problem. Anyway, I love this yarn. I loved the twist. I love the colors. I loved making this. I used a 4mm hook for this, a Susan Bates, so it's the little purple one. And yeah, so it goes like this in the back, and this hangs down the front, because if you remember, I was talking about how my neck would get cold and I don't always want like the big triangle shawl scarf. Like, while those are great and to keep you warm, those are fantastic, they add like this much bulk, and I have to like look out like this, and I don't always need that. I just need something to kind of keep the wind off. So this ended up being perfect. I'll try it on here for you and not get lipstick on it. Ooh, there we go. Oh, so beautiful. Hey, here we go. So this is kind of just like, I put it on and this is how it's gonna go type of thing. Nothing particularly fancy. It can go up higher and it will hold its position really, really well. And that's, I mean, even if I had it like this and I put a toque on top, it would really hold it very well that way. So that is something that's nice. And also, because the linen stitch is the same on the back as the front, if I wanted a little bit more on just the neck part, if this is well tucked in, I can fold it in half and have it cowl like that. And it's pretty good close to my neck. I didn't want it like tight like this because that feels very restrictive, especially if I'm out like snowshoeing or something. I want to feel like I can breathe and talk and stuff, but then I can also cover up my chin if it's cold. So this turned out absolutely beautifully. I did not use a pattern for this. There we go. So nice. What did I do? I started, yeah, so I said it was bottom up, which I don't usually fabricate a lot of stuff bottom up, so I was actually pretty happy with that. So I did linen stitch. So what did I do? I chained 3, then I did a single crochet, chained 3, put 2 in the space, just as it continued getting bigger and bigger. And I added 2 stitches on the end of every row something like that. Anyway, was it something like that? I'm actually going to look closely and tell you what I did. Okay, so it was kind of actually every other row, but every row had an increase. It was just done on the one side like this, so it got bigger evenly and evenly on the same sides. So where I did, so you can see I did an increase here, and then the next row up, this didn't, because that's this green one here is the next row. So that one I chained 3 at the end to have space for the 2 for the next row when I went and did double in there. So yeah, it's not difficult. I feel like I'm really over explaining it. And then once I got to this point, and I kept trying it on myself to see how long the point was, and then also how wide it was. I was trying it. I'd hold it up to my face, and then I'd put it around like that to see how close the sides were touching. And that's how I personally decided what width to do. And it ended up being this wide. And then when I was done, all I did was a very, very basic, sorry, it's super, super windy here right now. I have to interject. It's Chinooking, which is a warm wind that comes over the Rocky Mountains, but it blows like crazy. So I'm just hearing things like rattling around the house because of that. So if you hear banging and crashing, everybody is safe. It is just Chinooking outside right now. Sorry, anyway, I seamed it just very simply, just put the edges together, and I did a slip stitch all the way up to create this. It is a little bit of a bump, which if that bothers you, I would do a mattress stitch if it bothered me. It doesn't bother me, so I was happy with this. So that is one thing. I mean, it's so lovely. It's so lovely. It's like fun winter colors, and I think, yeah, I'm really glad actually that I got this yarn on a whim, because this was perfect project for it. I had barely any left over, so this used up almost the entire skein. I had maybe a little ball about that big left, and I didn't weigh it. It's in something else now, so I think in a project that's coming up. So that's done. The next item that I worked on and created that I hadn't even casted? I hadn't even cast on? Is it casted or cast? Tell me in the comments below. Is this sweater. So I was talking about making a sweater for my daughter, and I call this the mermaid sweater because I call her the mermaid. She used to be my little bird, but now she is my mermaid. So what this was is leftover, again, I have to look at my notes, loops and threads, soft and shiny is what it was called. I got this on sale at Michael's a few years ago, and I loved the color, so I bought all of it. I bought 8 skeins originally, and this used 4-ish. I'll have to go back and double check, but I think it was 4 for this. It is a raglan sweater. So this is the color. It's coming up more blue than it actually is in real life. It has ever so little bit more green. It's robin's egg, so that's the color. And in real life, that is the perfect name for this sweater. But here we are. We have to deal with what we've got. I just did a very, very basic raglan sweater. The top and the front and the back don't have any short row shaping, nothing like that. It's not higher to accommodate. My daughter likes loose, kind of not baggy, but she likes non-form fitting tops. So which is fine. She's my tunic girl. She's been like that for years. So she is super happy with this. She really liked it. I chained 15, 10, 30, 10, and 15. Yeah, to get this shape. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And the increases, you can see the increases, which is fine. I actually like that detail in raglan sweaters when you make them like this. Like you can see the increases. I think it just, I don't know, it just is like, it's a fun idea to me, and I don't know why. I just really like it. But there's that. So the construction of this is entirely in double crochet. So the arms are just straight double crochet, regular, nothing fancy. You just go into the row that you did before. The front is a double crochet V-stitch. And one thing I like and I don't like about V-stitch is if you have a variegated yarn, it's fantastic because you can really see the V's throughout. But when it's a plain color, it just comes out sort of meshy looking. But I do like how this turned out a lot. Like I like that the arms and the front, and I did the back the same as well. They are different from the sleeves. It's not going to be something that's boiling hot, because that I also held double with this this beautiful blue mohair that I had purchased, and it's got ever so slightly, I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up. Let's see if it will. Will it? I guess you can kind of see So what I'm showing you here, this is not, that's not just like fluff that's come off of the yarn. That's the mohair that I held. And if I had any complaints about this, is that the mohair actually matched this yarn way too well. So you cannot see any color differentiation of the mohair in here, which I guess is okay. It just adds a little bit. But I love a really subtle marling effect. And I put them together and I was so excited because I was like, oh, like hopefully this will show up, because like to the naked eye, ever so slightly different colors when you see them ball and ball together. So either it's just that the strand was too narrow for this, which is entirely possible, or it's just the colors were too similar that you can't see any marling, but it's still got this really pretty halo on here, which again, my daughter likes. She likes cozy, she likes fluffy, she like is obsessed with those microwave like things that you take to bed with you. So I thought she would really like that. But again, it's not a solid piece like this or even the sleeve. It's gonna be able to like let some wind in, let some of your body breathe, and it's great for that. So she really likes this. She's worn this several times already. And I added, I know this thing looks crazy, but I put this tiny little thing in so that she knows which is the inside and which is the back, because when she was little, like bless her heart, I used to make her stuff and she'd put it on backwards all the time just because she couldn't tell what was the front and what was the back. So, I mean, I can tell that this is the back because this is the back seam down the middle, right? But again, like to the untrained eye, are you going to know necessarily? You could just think that that was messed up or that was part of the design. So I did that so she knows exactly which is front, which is back, and that she wears it the same all the time. So that's that. Yes, okay. That's all I have completed. I feel like I've talked ad nauseum about that already, but all good. So if you have any questions about any of that stuff, just let me know. They were all just patterns I came up with in my head. Oh yes, today I am wearing one of my originally lovely Perfect Crochet t-shirts. This one is the super cropped one. So I just wore, this is a bit ratty. I think it's got some holes in it, but I'm just home today. Nobody's coming. This one is very cropped. This keeps flipping over. I'm gonna have to pull it out and fix it because I'm pretty sure I know why it does that, but not the end of the world. What was I saying? Oh yes, I made this. This one was made with Croy sock yarn. I finished this, I believe in the last episode I chatted about it, but yes, I've worn it with dresses. I wear it like this. This one is warmer than the other one that I made, and it's ever so slightly scratchy, but it's not so bad that I can't stand it. So that's great. Okay, let's move on to items I am working on, works in progress. I have this. I promise you're gonna get sick of this pattern and me making it, but I promise this is the last one for a while. So I am making another originally lovely Perfect Crochet t-shirt. This one is nearly complete. So I finished both of the sleeves last night, and I added this to the bottom. I've got between 10 and 15 rows left for it to be the desired length that I want. This yarn is, oh shoot, it's this. I have the label, but I forget where I put it. Maybe I can see it on the table. So this yarn, this is the hook I'm using. This yarn is, I know it's Estelle Yarns. It is, oh, maybe I have it. Oh, okay, perfect, I did, I wrote it down. This is Estelle Yarns with, Eco Paint DK in Cockatiel. This is 3 skeins. I don't think I'm gonna get all the way through all 3, probably not, but I'm gonna get a good way through, so I'm glad I had 3. I made this one slightly larger than I usually do because it is full wool. And fully expect it to shrink up a bit. Not a lot. So this one I'm definitely going to have to take care of more than I do my other ones, because they're like this is sock yarn, so it's not entirely wool. It's got lots of man-made fiber in it as well. The other one, the purple one that I was making, well, I made it. The purple one that I made, that one is super wash, so that one's fine to go in the washer and dryer, but this one's going to have to be taken care of a little bit more. I'm also going to completely uncharacteristically of me, I'm going to block this one before I start wearing it and using it. So that'll be finished definitely by the next time that we chat about stuff. But I love this yarn so much in this shirt. It's so fun. It's so fun to me. It's like confetti and delightfulness. I just love it. One thing, it smells a bit woolly. It's not bad. That I do actually really like about this is it doesn't have a crazy tight twist, which normally is a little bothersome to me. Usually I like a good twist on a yarn, which is why I don't like roving yarn. But because even with that, I love this. I haven't sheared it. It's very easy to work with. It pulls nicely, it glides nicely. I used a 4mm Susan Bates hook. It glides just absolutely stunningly with that. I mean, I love these hooks anyways, so most things work with that. But sorry, excuse me. Yes, I would recommend this yarn if you can get your hands on it. It did come in many other colors than this, but they're all like this idea. They're all like the speckly fun, just, I don't know, kind of wild, which is what I love. So there's that. I am working on that. The next item I am working on, we're going in a funny order here, and you'll see why in a minute. I have this, and I've got a whole bunch of hooks in here for some reason. Okay, I have just started a triangle shawl, very, very, dull, as one would say. Granny stripe. I'm giving you a break from the linen stitch, guys. Let's take our wins where we can. Very basic granny stripe motif here. That's all we got going on right now. Just one row repeat, increase at the corners, increase at the bottom corner, and voila, very, very easy. This yarn this is old. I've had this for a long time. This is Loops and Threads Perfect Pair, which is sock yarn that Michaels no longer provides us, which bums me out because I really liked it. In Atlantic City. For some reason I had in my head that this one was called Nashville, and I don't know why. If you live in Nashville, does this look like Nashville? Atlantic City, I would expect, would be more like what I would perceive Vegas to look like. But I don't know. I've never been to Vegas, and I've never been to Atlantic City, and I've never been to Nashville. I've just seen it on TV. So this is just what I ascertain from what I have seen on TV. But yeah, so it's very cute. I'm just very, very basically started into this. It's kind of my mindless waiting around project that I do that I don't need to count, I don't need to look at, and it is fine. I've got just scads of this. I bought all of this when Michaels was selling it out, and I got it $3 a ball, something like that. But this has been sitting around for some time, ready to be projected. Here we go. But there's that. I think I have one more skein of this as well, if that's not enough. I mean, this should be loads, but because that is one thing actually I really like about these really thin yarns. Like this guy's thin. He's like almost lace weight we're getting to. Is that you get a ball and it looks small and you're like, okay, it weighs, 100 grams or whatever, and it just keeps going and going and going and going, and you can crochet so much with it and you still have lots left. Like, I love that. Hard on the hands, but it's all good. I have 2 hooks in here. I do know that I have a Ravelry project page for this, so I will see. I think I am using this 3mm, but I have this 3.75. It could have been just that one of these fell in the bag while I was cleaning up. That's entirely possible. Keeping it in this little guy here. There is that. And then the last thing that I am working on is, oh, this thing is so big. Okay. My friend sort of offhandedly asked about another dog bed because I made, this thing weighs a ton. It's like 10 pounds. I made our dogs a dog bed out of scrap yarn, and they liked it, and they were like, oh, Max is waiting for his. So I was like, well, I still got lots of scrap yarn, like, why not? So I'm making their dog a dog bed, and he's quite a bit bigger than our dogs. He's a Bernese Mountain Dog. But I can't even show you the whole thing, but I'm gonna hold this up real quick. This is what I've got. It's not done yet. It is it's less than half done. It's about 40% now. So this is just random yarns that I have had in the house. This blue is that's left over from the sweater. I've got old, this is Loops and Threads facets in here, Bernat wavelength. There's stuff in here. There's some sock yarn. There's some cotton that I had that I didn't know that I had. What else is in here? There's some fluffy stuff. It's stuff that I know that I'm not going to get to, and it's like one ball of something and it's left over, and I'm just like, I keep it because I can't let it go for some reason, but I don't feel bad doing this with it because I wanted to use it. I didn't want to just throw it out. And it wasn't even enough to donate. Like, it's something that, when you look at it and you're like, I wouldn't want to get this as a gift. I wouldn't want to go to the thrift store and see this. I always look through it with that lens if I'm donating stuff. And a lot of them didn't fit the criteria, but I didn't want to just throw it out because that felt wasteful too, which is, I would say this is like the only thing that I get like kind of hoardy with is I'm like, oh, it might be useful still, which I'm just like, oh, I would love to break that habit actually. Anyway, but so this is the perfect project. This is like the best project stash buster in the world. I am using a 4-loop half double crochet puff stitch. It looks kind of braided. I don't know, it's hard. The colors are more vibrant on screen, which I know sounds crazy, but it's actually making it harder to see because in real life, it's a little bit less fun than this. It's still fun, don't get me wrong. It's just not as fun as it looks on screen here. But it looks fun. It's like, it looks braided when it's laying on the floor. So I am working on that. This actually is the worst thing for hurting my arm because the hook that I am using, if I can grab it here, it's enormous. It is this guy. I call it my whaling hook. I think, is it 25 millimeters? I don't know. It's bloody huge. I got this from Michael's years ago when, do you remember there was a fad in crochet? And I want to say it was, gosh, probably 6 years ago where like really huge everything was like the rage. Like really, really like massively chunky cardigans and pillows and blankets and all that stuff was just like, it was so big. That's when I got this because I don't know if they sell this one anymore. There's a plastic Susan Bates one somewhere, but yeah, so it's this guy. And this, it takes a lot of work to do the lifting like this, which aggravates that. And then the back and forth, because it's not just like little like this. You can't do that with that big yarn. You have to like drive it in and pull it out. So that definitely aggravated my arm. So I have put a kibosh on this for a while. There's no date that I have to give this since it's just like a random thing that I'm doing for somebody that I like. So there's that. Shoving my stuff back underneath there. Moving on to things I have acquired over the past 2 weeks. I have a few things, which just going through the having to get rid of a bunch of yarn, wanting to get rid of a bunch of yarn. I'm like, why did I do this? But I mean, this is a problem that I have. I went to my local yarn store and they had this. I'm very interested to try this. This is a hemp and wool blend sock yarn. It is regular sock size fingering, maybe a light fingering. It is wee. The color is 304. The lot is 21004. It's, yeah, 80% superwash wool and 20% hemp. It is 100 grams in this ball, 400 meters, milled in Italy. It says I can machine wash and dry on delicate. I probably wouldn't bother with that. It calls for 2.5 millimeter needles. In terms of crochet, I would, 2.5 feels a little tight for this when I look at it. I would probably do 3, even a 3.75 to deal with this one. So this is Gathering Yarn. The Harvest is Here, Homestead Painted, which I believe they are a Canadian company, but it's orange and purple, guys. Like, come on, I couldn't not buy this. Like, oh, stunning. Oh, love it. So I love this. And I have an idea that I would like to make a skirt out of this. I have 3 balls of it, so that should be enough to get, not a crazy long one, but probably like mid-thigh, which is fine. And there's a knitting pattern actually that I found that I liked, that I've tried doing a chart for in crochet. So I'm going to have some other, like, you know, my quote unquote garbage yarn to do that and see how it turns out and if I need to make adjustments to the chart that I made up, but we will see. So there is that. This is, I guess, probably the fanciest yarn that I have procured over the past couple weeks. The next thing is that as you know, I have been doing Tunisian crochet and I really like it. So I've decided that I would like to make a blanket for my husband it feels weighted, it's heavy, but it's, you know, something that's a little bit different. I'm doing it in bands that go across this way, and I've got started on the bands, which I guess it's a work in progress, but I put in a pin in it just for now, and I'll chat about that, about why that is. So I got the following colors. I have 4 colors so far, and they are this lovely. So this is Loops and Threads Luxe Merino. This is a 55% superwash merino and 45% acrylic. I don't love that it has acrylic in it, but I like that the superwash merino is the greater of the content there. I couldn't figure out what I was trying to say. I'm sorry. This is what the label looks like. The color, I believe, rhubarb. Yes, rhubarb is the color. It is a light 3. sport weight, that's coming to mind. It calls for a 4mm hook or a 3.75mm needles. Yeah. So this is wash, dry, do whatever. So this color is rhubarb. This color is deep sand. Funny to me, deep sand. It's a, I don't know, it's like builder beige from the early 2000s. That's what I would describe this color as. The next color is Sedona, which I'm just like, ooh, I love this color. It's so pretty. Comes like that. And the final color that I've got is called purple. Very plain. It is, I would say, like an iris color. It's not that aubergine color. It's more blue than anything, which is, I love it. I love it anyway, but I like that these go together. There are a couple other colors I would like to get, but I'm gonna hold off on that for a little bit. And one other thing I procured, which is on the project, is this. It's off-brand, whatever. It's not really a branded Canadian crochet hook. It's a 6mm, which it is etched into. Where is it? Right there, etched into it. Can you see? No, can't see. Okay, just believe me, it's a 6mm hook. It's made of bamboo. It is a Tunisian crochet hook. I was very impatient while waiting to get a set of Tunisian crochet hooks ordered for myself, because after the experiment with the Chow one, I was like, you know what? This is something I'm really enjoying, and even if it's something I only pick up, 4 or 5 times a year, which is entirely possible, I think I would rather just start from the place where I had the good tools rather than like going through all the other tools and wasting all that money. I'll just get the nice stuff. Even if it sits, it's not like it's gonna go bad. It's still gonna, it'll be nice when I get to it the next time. So I'm waiting for my nice set to come in, but I got impatient. So I went to Amazon and I bought this hook. It was $10 and this was such a waste of money. When I got it here, it was, I'm gonna push my project all the way down. I have no complaints about the length. The length is good. It's this long. It's got a cord, and it's got a bead on the end, so your stuff's definitely not gonna come off. Like, that's great. That's pretty much where the great ends on this. So it is not a swivel hook, not a swivel hook, which I knew that coming in. I thought this was just like an attached cord like the Chow one, but no, it's a bloody tube. It's a PVC tube, and it's really hard right here where the hook goes into it. So I've got other crochet hooks that are roughly this size and they fit my hand really well, but that's because like they end right here, and that's where this feels like it should end, but it doesn't. It ends a ways out, so it's awkward. And this tube is like, it's empty, but it feels really awkward. Like I don't care for it. It's got a decently smooth transition from hook to tube, but still, like it's a big tube. Like, it just feels really, really weird. So I'm really disappointed in that. That being said, also when I got it, the bamboo was like flaking off of it. So I lotioned up my hands and I was like, sounds disgusting, I was massaging this and rubbing it in between my hands like this to get it flaked off. I don't ever want to take a sanding sponge to this kind of thing, like a wood item, we'll say, because I don't want to change the size of it inadvertently or like accidentally like go a little crazy and end up with a big like weird lump on the side or something like that. So, I would have done it, but I was like, no, not worth the hassle. It also feels a titch big for a 6mm. I don't have a hook gauge size thing to tell, but just based on other ones, maybe sanding it would have been fine. But again, like, I don't want to run the risk of doing that and, like wrecking it or causing a stress point or something like that, Good things about this hook, there are some. It's got a really pointy top here. You can see, there we go. I love a pointy hook, so this, no complaints in terms of that. I like the throat and the I keep wanting to call it the latch, and I don't think that's what it's called, but this right here. This is reminiscent of the Susan Bates style, although this doesn't go up quite as much as the Susan Bates style, but this part is short, which I like that on the Susan Bates, is that's short. So it hooks all right and pulls through, but good Lord, was it snaggy for a while. So far I have started this panel, and it's kind of on hiatus until my other hooks come in, but we'll see. So this is just a Tunisian simple crochet stitch. It is curling because it's a bit tight, but it's coming out just fine. So what I'm gonna do with this blanket is I'm gonna continue with this one as much as I can, but again, like it's a bit unwieldy, so I'm like, ah, my arm, like a baby. I'm gonna keep going with this particular one because I think the size is good for these, but I'm going to wait to do the other panels until I get my hooks in, which could be a month from now. I don't know. Hang on, I need to make tea. But yeah, I'm gonna finish it on this one, and then I'm gonna donate this one because my qualms with it are not so bad that someone else might not enjoy it. And it's like brand new, basically. But yeah, so that's as far as I've got on that. But it's one of those, like, it's not that important to do at this point in time, but we're here. So I was cleaning up where I keep all my crocheting, my embroidery stuff, all of that like fun, like yarny sewing, thread and yarn accoutrement. And I was going through and finding a place to put my my new phone stand and everything that I got, and setting up my computer downstairs because I've only got one computer that has the program that I want on it because it won't go on my other one. But the keyboard was totally busted, so I ended up getting a new mouse and keyboard, and now it works. It's great. Anyway, so I was going through and looking, and I found pushed in the back of a drawer this contraption. So for those of you who don't know what this is, I got this moons ago. They do not sell these anymore to my understanding, but this is just a standard knitting loom. The thing that is interesting about this is that this was branded as a sock loom. So you can adjust it to different sizes. You just have to undo these little screws here, and then you push it up and down, if it'll let me. There we go. So it goes all the way down to there, even though nothing would fit in there, all the way up to there, and it's got the handle to hold it. I was at about a 9 here. Put it back. I don't actually know what the numbers mean on here. I have long since lost any of the information on this, but all that I can really recall is that this was a loops and threads product. It had like the little hook that you use to do the yarn, but that I could make knit looking socks without being able to knit. So I was super excited to find this, and I'm gonna play around with this and see what I can make. I mean, I know what I can make. I can make a tube with it at the very least, but I'm gonna see if I can find some sock recipes for this and I'll get back to you. I'm terrified of finding a heel recipe for this because knitting heels, like, I don't know what's up with y'all, but you guys have got so many heel recipes for your socks. With crochet, I feel like there's 2. Like, that's it. You join or you do it after the fact. Like, that's it. But regardless, I was still very excited to find this. I don't know if I still have like the little pick for it. I'll say I have to see. I'm not that worried about it though, because I can use the 2.5mm hook to get the loops off and around. So I do have experience with the like plastic gigantic ones. I actually made a pair of pants for my daughter with one of them one time, which was really fun when she was little. But so it's not that I don't know how to use this whatsoever. It's more that I don't know how to do the toe and do the heel and all that stuff, and like ribbing and things. But I just thought this would be a fun thing to try out. It's probably going to be 0% faster than when I crochet a sock, but it was just something. I think I originally bought it like for the novelty of it. I definitely bought it though, I will say, before Michaels came out with this, because I don't remember why I got this. To make stockings or something maybe at one point, I don't know, but still, that's fun. Very fun. So thank you so much for joining me today. I am so happy that you decided to spend a little bit of time with me. If you would give this video a like, and you can subscribe down there and hit the bell to get notified when I upload the next episode. I will see you guys all next time, and I am so happy that we are here together. Bye!